We've been sold a dangerous lie about productivity. We're told that the path to success is paved with relentless work, minimal sleep, and sacrificed vacations. That taking time off is for the weak, that real achievers power through no matter what. But what if this entire mindset is not just wrong, but actually counterproductive? What if the secret to exceptional work isn't working more, but resting better? I used to believe in the power through approach. I thought that discipline meant pushing forward regardless of fatigue, that taking breaks was a form of weakness. But then I discovered the science behind strategic rest, and it completely transformed my relationship with work and life. Physicist Leonard Mlodinow, who co-authored books with Stephen Hawking, explains in his research that our brains have what's called a default network that only activates during genuine downtime. This network is responsible for making sense of our experiences, connecting disparate ideas, and generating creative insights. When we never take real breaks, we're essentially preventing our brains from doing their most important work. This isn't just theoretical, it's biological. Our brains operate in two primary modes. The task positive network's active when we're focused on specific work, and the default mode network is active during rest and reflection. The default mode is where creativity happens, where problems get solved subconsciously, where we gain perspective on our lives and work. When we never switch off the task positive network, we're like farmers who never let their fields lie fallow. Eventually, the soil becomes depleted and nothing grows well. The first profound benefit of taking real time off is what I call strategic reflection. In our normal work lives, we exist primarily in execution mode. We're doing, producing, responding, completing. But execution without reflection is like driving with your eyes closed. You might be moving fast, but you have no idea if you're heading in the right direction. I've found that it takes about 10 days of genuine break to achieve what I call mental reset. The first 5 days are often still contaminated with work thoughts, the mental residue of constant doing. But around day 6 or 7, something shifts. Your mind begins to wander into territories it hasn't visited during the business. You start having different kinds of thoughts, not about how to do things better, but about whether you're doing the right things at all. This leads directly to the second benefit, unconscious idea processing. We've all had the experience of struggling with a problem for days only to have the solution appear suddenly during a shower or a walk. This isn't magic, it's your brain's default network working in the background. When you take extended time off, you give your mind the space to process not just immediate problems, but the bigger questions. What do I truly want to create? What matters most? What relationships need attention? These aren't questions you can answer while responding to emails or attending meetings. They require the quiet space that only genuine downtime provides. The third benefit might seem unrelated, but is incredibly powerful: art consumption as fuel. Great art, whether music, literature, film, or visual arts, does something remarkable to our brains. It exposes us to different perspectives, emotions, and ways of seeing the world. When we're constantly in execution mode, we consume information primarily for utility. But art consumption has no immediate practical purpose, and that's exactly what makes it so valuable. It stimulates parts of our brain that don't get activated by spreadsheets or business reports. Some of my best ideas have come not from business books, but from novels, films, and albums that touched me emotionally and made me see my work and life differently. The fourth benefit is perhaps the most important: identity separation. In our work-obsessed culture, we often conflate what we do with who we are. I'm a manager, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a designer. But you are not your job. You are a complex human being with relationships, passions, curiosities, and a personal history that extends far beyond your professional role. Taking real time off forces you to reconnect with these other aspects of yourself. It reminds you that your worth isn't determined by your productivity, that your identity is multifaceted, and that neglecting the non-work parts of yourself ultimately makes you less effective in all areas of life. The fifth benefit is what I call the rest-boredom principle. Humans are fundamentally built to create, to contribute, to make ourselves useful. This isn't just cultural conditioning, it's part of our evolutionary inheritance. We derive deep satisfaction from being productive in meaningful ways. That's why, after sufficient rest, we naturally become restless. We start missing the satisfaction of accomplishment, the camaraderie of collaboration, the pleasure of solving problems. This natural rhythm, work followed by rest followed by renewed desire to work, is healthy and sustainable. The key is honoring both parts of the cycle rather than trying to exist in perpetual work mode. Dale Carnegie captured this wisdom decades ago when he advised, rest before you get tired. This is the essence of the prevention mindset. Most of us wait until we're burned out, until our productivity has plummeted, until our relationships are strained, before we consider taking a break. But by that point, the damage is already done. Strategic time off is about maintenance, not repair. It's about topping up your reserves before they're empty, about refreshing your perspective before you lose it completely. Implementing this approach requires changing how we think about time off. It's not about squeezing in a 3-day weekend between major projects. Real mental reset requires extended breaks. I've found that 10 to 14 days is the sweet spot for achieving genuine perspective shift. It also requires being fully present during your time off. That means no checking work emails, no just quick work calls, no mental rehearsal of upcoming projects. Your brain can't enter the default mode if you're constantly tugging it back to task-oriented thinking. The ultimate paradox of productivity is that sometimes the most productive thing you can do is nothing at all. Not scrolling through social media, not binge watching television, but genuine, intentional, unstructured downtime. Time to let your mind wander, to daydream, to connect with people you care about, to consume art that moves you, to remember who you are beyond what you produce. So give yourself permission to rest without guilt. Understand that strategic time off isn't abandoning your responsibilities. It's ensuring you have the mental, emotional, and creative resources to meet them effectively over the long term. Your work will be there when you return, but you'll approach it with fresh eyes, renewed energy, and often better ideas than you had when you left. The most productive version of yourself isn't the exhausted, burned out one desperately pushing through. It's the rested, clear-headed, creatively charged one who works with purpose and joy. That version deserves a break.